TikTok users are closely watching this bill, and one of them is Cheyenne Hunt. The Gen Z, or Gen Z, influencer is running for Congress in 2024. With nearly 100,000 followers on TikTok, she's been using her platform to share her message with voters, and she joins me now from Fullerton, California. So I'd love to get your take, first off, of this potential ban. Is it a good idea? Is it not?
Absolutely, and thanks for having me. Look, let's be clear. We absolutely need to regulate social media, but banning a single app without addressing the overall issue that's at stake here is a mistake.
And what is the overall issue?
Yeah, absolutely. The Congress has rightfully expressed concerns that there are national security risks and that there are data privacy concerns when it comes to a foreign adversary controlling a major social media platform. But the truth is those risks are present across the entire internet right now. We don't have comprehensive data privacy legislation that applies to social media more broadly. And so eliminating TikTok does nothing to actually address the concerns they say this legislation would address. Whether it's Facebook or Instagram, we've seen foreign adversaries use those channels as well to use and abuse our data for their own interests. And so I'd really like to see Congress think more critically about what we can do to really address these concerns versus attacking a single app and worsening a problem we have already across the world with social media being controlled by just a handful of powerful corporations.
You have almost 100,000 followers. How has TikTok helped you when it comes to building a political career?
TikTok has helped me tremendously, just as social media has for folks all across the world when it comes to pursuing their interests, whether it's advocacy, politics, growing their small and medium-sized businesses, and even staying connected to friends and family. So it would be definitely a misguided thing to say that this app is easily replaced and that social media is something that's not become essential to our way of life. And we need to think more critically about the way that we regulate it.
Are you concerned that the Chinese government may have access to all of your personal information?
Deeply. I'm deeply concerned with the state of data privacy, both at home and abroad. And the truth is, I know that they do. They have access to our information through TikTok, but not TikTok alone. They also have access to that information through the data that Facebook is collecting, that Google is collecting. Because we don't have comprehensive data privacy legislation, China, Russia, foreign adversaries, people, domestic terrorists, that information is pretty widely available and easily accessible. And so I urge Congress to, be informed and to think more critically about how we can legislate to fix this problem beyond just a single app.
Let me just push back on you a bit, though, because, I'm assuming, the criticism that would be, well, okay, but Facebook, Meta, that is, and Google, those are American-based and owned companies. ByteDance is not.
Yeah, absolutely. But the ownership doesn't necessarily dictate the fact that the access to that data is still not confined by borders, by nationality. And the truth is, it's a larger problem. And what we do when we ban a single app like TikTok that has actually posed a challenge to something like Meta is we just further consolidate power in the hands of a few unaccountable billionaires like Mark Zuckerberg, who we know use and abuse our data. And what we've done is remove a single competitor from that marketplace and further consolidated that power versus really regulating the root of the problem, regulating the fact that this is a national security risk across the board, and we should expect our lawmakers to do better and think more critically about the way that they're going to approach this regulation.
I know that you talked to one of my producers, Nama, about the fact that there's a contrast here. The lawmakers are older. A lot of the people that want to see TikTok stick around are folks like you, Gen X, Gen Z. What do you make of that contrast? And do you think that there might be a knowledge gap here when it comes to how powerful TikTok has been for this generation?
There's a huge knowledge gap. And I mean, frankly, it's just going to be the way that it is when the average age of the American lawmaker is well into their 60s or 70s. And frankly, you've got a generation like mine that has grown up in this new reality that is, very online and very connected. And we see publicly in some of these hearings the huge misunderstandings that these lawmakers have about the basics of how this technology works. And who's filling that void, who's filling that gap for them when it comes to an understanding of these technologies is the lobbyists, the big tech lobbyists who are paid by those companies to push their talking points. So that's the only information that they're getting. And I think that's why we're seeing bad one-sided policy coming out of Capitol Hill right now. And if we want a shot at really regulating these things well, we need to get younger voices in Congress.
Cheyenne, I'm out of time, but I do want to ask you one quick last question. If TikTok goes away in the United States, what are you going to do to get your message out?
We're going to do whatever we have to do, whether it's, move it to a different platform or continue to go where the viewers are, because that's our responsibility as public servants and advocates, is to make sure we're speaking to people where they can hear us.
Okay. Cheyenne, appreciate you being here on Canada Tonight. That is Cheyenne Hunt, a Gen Z TikToker running for Congress. Thank you.